So I'm sure you're aware that there's more than pyramids than just in Egypt. But there's also hidden pyramids. So for example, there's one here in Bosnia. There's a hidden one in China, and these are hidden simply because they're covered over with trees and stuff from the thousands of years. However, in China, no one else is allowed to go near it except for the locals. Begs the question why, what's inside there. So they're generally all over the place. There's even reports that there's one in Wales in the UK, and road workers were digging up the road and came across the capstone, started digging down and realised it was a massive pyramid, and their bosses basically told them to cover over it, and now there's a roundabout there. But there's also pyramids in Antarctica. Now that's a huge deal because there's also speculation that there's military down there actually under the ice in cities. I know it sounds like a movie, but that's where, and I'll talk about that later. So I'm not saying that it was just the Anunnaki that built the pyramids. They used the humans that they had already created to help them. Now there's not one bit of evidence, not one bit to say how they built the pyramids, and that's why obviously people assume that it was slopes and whatnot. They obviously, the Anunnaki wanted to keep their secrets secret, and that's why you have things like the Freemasons and Knights Templars and the builders, because they kept the knowledge and didn't want people to have it anyway. So if you look at Egypt statues, just as they did with Anunnakis, they built statues to honour themselves. But the quality, just as with building a pyramid, look at the quality of that. That is perfectly symmetrical. Something that we would find hard to do today, certainly by hand. So it begs the question, what kind of tools did they use? Just look at this stone. It's absolutely huge. You want to try and move that with pulleys and levers and blocks, and the amount of trees you would need works out to be billions because of the 20 years, the weight of them, and the trees that are in Egypt. If you was building the Great Pyramid that were in Egypt were soft trees, so they would have broke. And anyways, the point that I'm trying to say is just because you can move a block doesn't mean that's how it was done. So for example, this guy here can actually build Stonehenge on his own. Fantastic, well done, excellent work. So he then says, well, that's it, that's how they built Stonehenge, and probably how they built the Great Pyramids. But just because you can do something or replicate something to get the end result doesn't mean that's how it was done. So for example, there's people out there that recreate UFO footage on their computer, and they say, well, if I done it on my computer, that's how it's done. Doesn't mean that's how it... Yes, this was a pyramid and still is a pyramid. It's a slightly destroyed and abandoned one. But the army, when they first found this pyramid, which is on top of a very large hill, which made it really difficult to build, I'm sure, the army stopped people from going in. The army secured the area and was there for a very, very long time to make sure that people like me and you didn't go and find the secrets. What secrets? Such as the Eye of Horus. You may have heard of it. Now this is classed as an all-seeing eye, the third eye. Even you may recognize that triangle symbol there with the eye in it. Some people say you can have an out-of-body experience, see the future because of this third eye, and the third eye is generally located sort of on your forehead there. The next video is really, really important. Please try and watch it, and watch this one first, because it explains why that is connected to our spirits. Time travel. We'll talk about that soon in my videos, but I just wanted to point out, a lot of people are asking me questions about things that if they had watched my previous videos, they wouldn't need to ask the questions. It will make so much more sense. So if you haven't already watched my other videos, there's a little icon there with my little monk holding a skull icon. Click on that. Try and watch them from the bottom upwards, number one first. And then you probably will have a lot of your answers instead of having to ask. So anyway, down the line we will be talking about time travel. This isn't this is just someone that looks like Nicolas Cage. We'll be talking about crop circles, what relevance they have to aliens, and the fact that crop circles were actually around a lot longer than you think. Yeah, I mean, we've all heard about the guy Doug and Dave. But no, they go way back. We'll also look into Bigfoot, one of my favourites. So we've got so much more. Plus